everybody, so today we're going to be talking about balancing chemical equations. This video is part one of several videos I'll be posting talking about balancing equations, and each video will build on the prior one. Let's get started. We're going to start with a simple equation that has only three elements in it: potassium, hydrogen, and oxygen. First, write down a list of the element symbols that are in the chemical equation. Next, starting on the reactant side, the left side, write down how much of each element is present. Take the coefficient and multiply it by the number in the subscript after that element. If there isn't a coefficient or a subscript number, it is assumed to be 1. For potassium, you have 1 times 1 equals 1. For hydrogen, you have 1 times 2 equals 2. And for oxygen, you have 1 times 1 equals 1. On the product side, you have 1 times 2 for hydrogen, 1 times 1 for potassium, and 1 times 1 for oxygen. Next, we see that there is another hydrogen. This time, it is 1 times 1. You just add that hydrogen to the other one, and your total becomes 3. Looking at our numbers, we can see that the only thing out of balance is the hydrogens. So on the reactant side, we will make the coefficient be 2. We need to make sure we record the change in our table. Now for hydrogen, we have 2 times 2 equals 4. We also need to make sure we distribute the coefficient of 2 to the oxygen as well, so the oxygen becomes 2 times 1 equals 2. Since both hydrogen and oxygen are now out of balance, we are going to adjust the KOH next. Like before, we are just going to raise the coefficient up to 2 and distribute the 2 to the K, O, and H. Since hydrogen occurs 2 times on the product side, be sure to adjust the correct one here. After all that, there's only one thing out of balance, and to fix it, put a coefficient of 2 on the K. That makes potassium have 2 times 1, which equals 2. As you can see now from our table, potassium, hydrogen, and oxygen have the same number of each element on the reactant and product sides. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this introduction to balancing equations helpful. Stay tuned for the next video where we'll look at a more complicated equation.